Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, on behalf of your Denver-based podcast crew, we appreciate you joining us for the Friendly Vibes.
Coming to you live from TSS Universidad for a very special election night special episode of what might be the end of the world, right? We could get nuked at any point. Watch your clocks, check your wrists. It's going down. I'm yelling timber. Cast my ballot this morning. To my left, joining me, esteemed guy and legend of the pod, Connor Moore.
Thanks, bro.
And who have you brought with you?
I'm Mike Self. I go to school with Sean.
Michael Self, to his left.
Yes, sir.
Two relatively, let's say, on the spectrum of people, educated men on the political process and civics and the fact that we should be voting today, right?
Hopefully.
I think everybody should be voting. No matter what side you're on, you should be voting.
Yeah.
Civic duty, almost. Like you said, civic duty.
I was excited to go to the polling place this morning. It's like the fourth person to cast my ballot at the spot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, here on campus.
Yeah,
and La
yeah.
Universidad. And I was like, I always want to do those experiential things like voting rather than just casting it in. Because it's like, I might get a story out of this. And as I'm going through the judges, voting no on every single one because there's too much positive pressure behind the judgeship and the bar. So I vote no on every single judge, no matter who they are. And as I'm going through, I'm like, damn, these are a lot of judges. And I have to bend over, and this table's for normal people. So my back, a few spine. I'm like, I'm take a knee for justice. So I took a knee, and I went no down the rest of the judges. Stood back up, got through the rest of the propositions, turned in my ballot, and called it a day. I voted. How about you?
God damn.
I've actually never voted in person. It's always been kind of like a dream of mine because of like what I study and stuff like that. I like the process. The first time I voted was actually overseas, and that was a pain in the ass, dude.
Let's talk a little bit about your background and what brought you to voting overseas.
Interesting background.
So the quick rundown is I spent 12 years in Germany, 4 in Austria. Both my parents were in the military. So I spent some time in Würzburg, Wiesbaden, and I graduated high school in Stuttgart. Oh, damn, I'm not wearing that hoodie today. Fuck. And then I was like, all right. I graduated the year of COVID, so 2020, and I didn't really want to go to college at all. I was actually in the Marine recruiting station when my dad found me, like find my iPhone or some shit. He's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? I was like, I don't want to go to college, man. I'm done with this. I really had a good time in high school. I kind of felt like I peaked. I didn't. Spoiler alert. And then he was like, all right, I'll do the research for some colleges. You got to go to college, man. I don't care what you do, just go to college. So I went to an American university based out of... You must
take on debt and go bankrupt.
Exactly.
It's the American dream.
It is the
I'm sorry,
dream.
But you have to do it.
And so I went to the American University in Vienna, Austria. It's based out of St. Louis. Shout out Webster. Go Gorlocks.
So is it American University?
It is an American university, but I was the only American that went there all 4 years.
What's the name of the university?
Webster.
Okay.
They have campuses all over the world. It's actually kind of a sweet deal.
Gotcha.
Because people usually come in for like a year or a semester, and then they'll go to like Ghana for 6 months.
Do they specialize in like expat families or military base, like around the world?
Webster does, because my father got his master's from Webster when he was still in the military.
Very cool.
That's why he knew of it. So then I did that for 4 years, and it turns out I kind of liked what I studied. I studied international relations, minored in psych. Have no fucking clue why. Got some other certificates.
Does it interest you, I hope?
Well, psych was cool, but it was hard. The only C I ever got in college was in fucking
psych
abnormal psych. I was like, all right.
You got the normal stuff down pat, but the abnormal stuff, you're like, whoa, we're off the handle here.
This is just like me. Fuck. And then I was like, I got to look at some grad schools. And I looked at a whole bunch of them. And DU just kind of like spoke to me. I like the mountains. DC seems a little too cutthroat for me. So now I'm here studying with, you're Sean, studying with Connor.
Yeah. Sean Connor. The Self man, Michael Self on the end.
You guys just look so similar though.
Yeah, right.
I was gonna go. I need to cut it down. I want to do Movember for pancreatic cancer, but
okay.
I'm gonna cut down to the stash. I guess you got a little bit down here too. I'm not giving you credit for it, but
shave yet,
Yeah, you'd have a tough time casting your ballot today. I had to wear a mask just to blend in, otherwise they kick you out of the polling place.
Yeah, with a beard like that. Yeah.
If you look too, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
No, they let everybody vote. Go vote if you haven't. This will be long out past the election.
States. Maybe.
I think in every state, by the time this comes out, they won't be able to cast a ballot anymore.
No,
not at all.
Also, some states you can't do day of registration. Colorado is.
Isn't that strange?
Yeah.
It's not though, is it?
I mean,
I think you should be able to register and vote on the same day.
Well, for sure.
But like some states you have to register beforehand.
Right.
I think Kansas you have to register beforehand. I was actually born in Kansas. It's most of the Midwest states you have to register. You don't have to choose a party in most of them. And then you can go to the ballots.
Well, I got texts all week long. The Democratic Party still thinks I'm going to cast my vote in Iowa, apparently. I'm sure they'll get a ballot for me and make sure that goes through. But
Yeah.
I mean, nothing I can do about it.
Yo, I mean, not to change the subject, it's
Please.
still on it, but the gold standard Iowa poll, bro. Tell me what you think.
true.
You hear
Like-
about this?
Okay, yeah. So to give a little backstory for people that might not know.
I mean, to my knowledge, I forget. I hate to say it without the name, but I forget who did it.
I'll check. Yeah.
Wish we had
Anyways,
production, sorry.
from my understanding, is that this pollster, we'll get the name here soon, is a gold standard pollster. So what that means is basically
Their father served as a pollster. Their grandfather served as a pollster. That is a gold
And
standard.
seltzer.
yeah, and shout out Ann Seltzer.
If your last
right?
name's a beverage, dude, your polls are reliable.
Yeah. And
Have you seen
shout
Mike
out-
Pepsi's Georgia?
Yeah.
Very reliable.
Yeah, exactly. But shout out my boy John in U.S. Foreign Policy. He put me on this poll. And
Wait,
so
which John? Buff John or
hang
bisexual
on.
John?
So you got put on a poll for a man?
It'd be really funny if it's bisexual John now. There's a lot of Johns in this class, man.
the John who served in the military.
There's 2 Johns that served in the military.
They both
And they were both in the Marines. And they're both bald. One has a mustache, one has a beard. Bisexual John is probably the John
one
you're
with
thinking
the
of.
mustache.
Just the mustache?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just Marine John.
Wait, hold on. I'm so good.
You
Okay.
buried the lead. I love it.
Anyways, he put me on the poll.
Well, the
So
poll was
basically-
very Kamala positive, is my understanding, right?
Yes.
It actually just switched, though, didn't it?
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to bring in.
Today, it was Harris. I mean, it was Trump, like, running up to it. And then I think today it flipped. Like, now it's Harris 47.
No, so
Trump 44, right?
So
It's weird.
basically, the gold standard polling is basically an individual who has sound methodology, right? Like it checks out amongst other scholars, whatever.
The Clintons approve of it. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
The Bushes didn't. That's the only one she's gotten wrong, I think.
The Mossad goes, yeah, it
and
looks
then
good.
beyond that, all of their predictions are within 1 percentage point. Typically.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So
very,
reliable.
very
They've proven
reliable.
themselves.
I mean, but to get polling numbers, it's hard.
It's difficult.
Because like if I want to say I'm going to vote for Trump and then I vote for Harris, there's no way of like accounting for that within a poll.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
Polls are a whole gambit of
other
trouble
story.
because they're based in stats, and you're dealing with polling.
And you can make stats look like anything you want.
Yeah, most
honestly.
statistics that use to back up all of our like public policy decisions are p-hacked. 95% of them, it's been discovered. 95% of all the studies that make all of the public policy decisions that we've ever done are p-hacked.
What's your
statistically.
numbers on that? I mean, because that could be false.
That could be p-hacked too. That study could have been p-hacked.
farce
You're
out
right.
there, man.
Yeah. So, anyways, the poll.
Poll's very Kamala positive, right?
Yeah,
3
the
points
poll,
up.
and 3 points.
she's
47 to 44.
Yeah.
The reason being because of the abortion ban that
Yes.
Iowa recently
and
passed.
older women deciding to flip is what it is.
Old white women. Yeah. That's what it is. It's
Thank
insane.
you. Yeah. So, anyways, the broader point is that if that is legit, if that happens, it raises so many questions around the whole nation. If Iowa can flip blue for the first time since 2008 when Obama won it, what does that indicate for the rest of the country? What that could indicate is it's about to be a landslide for Kamala.
Bro,
For sure.
you want to bet on this? We should have some like
I
fun.
don't know if
Dude,
I
I don't want to bet on this.
Let's have a fun bet, just for a fun side bet of like landslide Harris, landslide. Like
I don't
it
think
has to
I
be
don't think there's gonna be a
a
landslide.
Mondale
Mondale,
outcome
yes.
for one of us to win the bet. You
Wait,
can
what
take
did you
Harris,
win,
I'll
Michigan?
take Trump.
All right.
Like either Harris landslide, Trump landslide.
You want to take it?
God, no, dude.
Because I think it's going to be. I think these polls. I am skeptical of the credibility of these
course,
polls.
we have to be.
reach actual Americans like
Yeah.
they were in 2016. I think there is a large underrepresented silent amount of people that are going to show up, and if they show up for issues like abortion in key places like Iowa,
Yeah.
in certain groups of people, could swing the election.
Yeah.
People don't realize that. I mean, a couple issues pointed in the right voters' faces are entirely able to make them switch their vote.
For sure.
So it'll be interesting to see what actually happens.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated. Oh, you got live numbers?
I don't even know if I want to share this.
Is this live?
I don't even know if I want to put this on
those aren't live
recording.
numbers.
No.
God, no.
This is what I
your prediction?
think is most likely to happen.
Did you get the Iowa flip?
No.
Oh.
No. I will go red.
That's wrong. Pennsylvania's going red.
I think
There's too many.
I think
the
Too many rural
Okay,
fuckers
so
that are going to show
the,
up, dude.
The opposite I have of that is my other prediction is Georgia goes blue, Pennsylvania goes red, but Kamala still wins.
Do you know how tough that is, though? I mean,
Have you read about how they fucked up the census? So Florida's going to be able to sue. If this happens, what you just showed me happens, Florida will sue for extra seats
like in the
that
house?
were given to electoral college seats that were given based on a census they revised. And they haven't changed the numbers for on the electoral college.
What would be the difference, though?
The difference is, I think it's like 7 or 8.
Oh my god!
Significant.
No, that's
change
like
insane. That's like
So Ben Shapiro was in
that's
on
like
the
miscounting 40 million people.
I
That's
didn't
like
see
insane.
the full thing, but Ben Shapiro went on the Nelk Boys podcast and told them about this this hidden thing that nobody's talked
What
about.
the shit?
That if they lose by a certain margin, Florida will sue to get these electoral votes changed.
So what you're telling us is
We're not going to know for months.
Well,
so
not even that. We're gonna.
I would bet on that. I could bet on that.
We're gonna hollow out democracy in America.
Dude,
it's been hollowed.
Yeah, it's been hollowed.
It's like
you
throwing a
remember
hot dog down a hallway.
We're talking about the level of
what
where
year did
it's
we sign the
never been.
Patriot Act? That's when we lost it.
What year did we sign?
Period. Like when we said our own government
Can spy on our
is
own people.
against in any way through their actions, whatever it be, spying, yes, high level of that, let alone any action on the people as an othering of our own citizens, problem. We lost it. We've lost the democracy, y'all. This is why the founders were so pointed about the representative government and the way they set it up and how we lost the lead on that a while ago, right?
We did. When you're talking pragmatic, even war powers, right? That stuff is insane. When you look into ever since Vietnam and the 73 War Powers Act, and
the thing they signed 2 weeks. Sorry to interrupt. The thing they signed 2 weeks ago, where they're like, "Yeah, you can use lethal force against U.S. civilians." I'm sorry.
What? I saw that. Yeah.
Is that legit?
It's a legit thing.
Legit.
It's a legit thing. It's a legit thing.
But I saw it.
But think about it. They've seen the last 4 years of things. Think pragmatically. They saw a lot of violence through the George Floyd riots. They saw a lot of unrest in the January 6th.
Sense.
So now they're like, yeah, we need to be able to have our officers not get shot in the face and not be able to use lethal force. But dude, to a couple weeks before an election, be like, yeah, we can mobilize the military and they can use deadly force on U.S. citizens without,
repercussions. I mean, I think
that's crazy. That's fucking crazy.
I think as of this morning,
that's the Patriot Act on meth, dude.
That's insane. I think of this morning, 6 or 7 states have mobilized their National Guard. I'm sure.
What? Have you seen what DC looks like? It's all boarded up,
dude. Yeah. It looks like a fucking apocalypse movie. Have you guys seen the movie Civil War? The new one that came out, all about photography and journalism.
No, oh yeah, I did not see it, but I heard that.
I thought it was going to be a lot more killing. I was actually pleasantly surprised.
More of stories and people, right?
It's actually a beautifully made movie. Highly recommend it. But it looks like that. It looks like DC is shut down, blockades for the whole 9 yards. And I was in DC maybe 2 months ago. It was free roaming. And then I see the videos coming out today. I'm like, holy shit.
My question to you would be, find me a red place where this happens. It doesn't. Where do they board up and worry about violence? Blue places. Because who gets violent?
On the other point of that, they don't necessarily need to worry about that because of voter suppression laws.
You also don't have to worry about boarding up a farmhouse if you and your 6 cousins that live in the county are
guns.
You.
There's nothing. There's no resources to board up. So yes, from a GDP argument makes sense.
Usually board up in times of unrest. Well,
cities are always blue too. So it's a fallacy based argument I just made from the jump.
Yeah.
But it's a good one. You can't show me a red place where they board up stuff. It doesn't happen because
There's no
red
fucking
people
red
don't.
city, bro.
Because red people go to. My mom used to make this joke. Like, we'd watch the polling roll of 2008 and like, oh, Obama's ahead. And mom's like, yeah, well, Republicans are at work still. Like, remember, when they get off work, they'll go vote. It's like,
except now
Republicans don't have the time.
Now that's different.
Flipped.
Yeah, yeah.
Now
What's it
that's
called? Like the
different.
red wave? No.
It's the
And then
red
lemon,
mirage and then the blue
shift.
wave.
Yes. Yes. We're talking about the same thing.
Semantic gymnastics.
Yeah,
What are we
honestly.
talking about?
So you want to go?
You go.
Okay, I'll go. Very early on election night, the votes that usually get counted first are rural places because they have less people to count. I mean, it's just a numbers game. All votes are just a numbers game. So at the very beginning of most elections, it's like, holy shit, it's red. Everything's red because, I mean, if it's a farmhouse,
They got counties with 45 people.
you count the 45 people in 10 minutes. You're like, oh, okay. And then because it takes time, like so much time to count the votes, like in Denver, because there's 600,000 people here.
Right. Crazy.
And a majority of them are probably voting blue. So it takes time. And that's the blue shift. So the red mirage is at the very beginning. So when I'm at my watch party tonight from 7 to like 9 o'clock at night, everybody's like, holy shit, that's a lot of red. And then most of those states hold out red, like the ones that we suspect are going to go red. And then there's the blue shift later in the day, or probably coming in tomorrow or the next day. This is like my Super Bowl. Holy shit, I'm so excited. And then it'll start to shift back to like a more middle. That's why I don't think there'll be a landslide. Going back to the bet.
Have you seen the early polling data this year though, and how like shifted it is?
That is
That's
shifted.
pretty wild.
That is
So,
wild.
What do you mean? Explain.
Like, actual returns of early voting are like typically extremely skewed towards
I'm gonna have
Democrats.
this beer.
And what is it now?
Oh, it's been a red wave,
Yeah.
like a surprise, like a
So now
determinist.
things are shifting, right? Like,
So maybe Republicans are going to vote less in person.
maybe
Maybe.
I think the entire country's voting less in person. I mean,
for sure.
I mean, I voted in Oregon this time, and full disclosure, I voted blue. I think
That's
red,
a white dude for Harris. That's what it looks like, folks.
yeah. But I voted in Oregon, so my blue vote in Oregon, whatever. But last time, in 2020, I voted blue in Texas.
Yeah.
In Travis County, go Austin. And you could clearly see like where the cities are and where these mirages happen, like especially in Texas. I mean, yeah. Because these farmhouses out in Columbus, Texas, where my dad grew up, I think had a population of like 2,000 people. And then you move to like Dallas, Austin, Houston, and then it shifts. And then you find, I mean, it's never perfect middle,
Right.
but like then you find your happy place. And that could take, in my opinion, I would willing to bet on this. It could take weeks.
So how do you feel as big fans of this Super Bowlian? Sorry, go ahead.
This is my
I was just gonna say, building off of like the red mirage, whatever. This is a huge point to stress, though, is that if you have Democrats coming in late to the game, right, in voting,
oh yeah.
it sets up a perfect storm, just like 2020, to where tonight we're gonna see Trump declare victory. No doubt.
Yeah.
He's going to declare
Dude,
victory.
I hope he does, bro. I hope he does.
He'll probably declare victory around like 3 o'clock in the morning.
That's the funniest outcome. Like, I'm praying for the funniest outcome at this point.
That's pure comedy.
Yeah, dude, I have to. At this point, I'm cheering for the funniest outcome.
Yeah.
Like, it was getting boring with Biden. It got funnier when they swapped him out, for Kamala and said, "Oh yeah, you guys love her now," and everyone's like, "Yeah, we love her now," and it's like,
Not gonna lie, her TikTok is
the
kind
last
of
4
persuasive.
years. Hey, I'm not getting sideed by China. Hey,
Hey.
come on. No, I was gonna ask you though, as fans of this, do you have any? Are you perturbed at all by any of the, depending on the side, doesn't really matter, election-based issues we've seen through this cycle? Like, that have been transparently exposed.
I mean, when we were in class today, I was going through the news feeds, and that's the story. I got to tell you a story. And I was going through, because voter fraud, in my opinion, is like super bad. Well, it is super bad. And I was really looking into that because I was worried during 2020. It's like, did somebody meddle? And then Russia's a little kind of like on the fence about it. Didn't they? So I was looking at a whole bunch of stuff, and I looked at ABC, NBC, MSNBC, which is as far left as you can go. And then I also looked at Fox, and I can't remember the one more. And they all had at least little blurbs of like, hey, things are looking like it's all American. Which, as a person who studies politics, that makes me feel good. I don't care who you vote for whoever you want. But as long as you go and you vote, that's like the best thing ever without external pressure. Yeah. I mean, that's good. I mean, I don't know if that's changed in the hour since this 9 o'clock class that I wanted to blow my brains out in, but my early onset reaction is that it looks okay.
Have you read about the stuff in Colorado specifically, just for an example? Like what's happened over the course of the last 2 years with our Secretary of State here in Colorado?
No, explain.
Oh my God, dude.
I don't vote here.
Kyle Clark, who's extremely left, like even like had to press her on the news
Clark
recently.
Comes to DU at Corbell all the time.
He does,
I've been seeing him at Corbell all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Anyways, sorry,
why?
Oh, he gives talks.
Oh yeah.
Like they invite him and they talk about. I don't know.
It's a good way to make publicity for the school.
For sure. Bring a bunch of big speakers in.
Yeah, dude. They should bring in the whatever El Salvadorian gang took over that apartment complex. DU should bring in Venezuelan. Thank you.
But DU brings in some heavy hitters,
dude. Oh yeah,
all the time.
Private schools is
we just had
Nagel,
not just Nagel. Before him, I went and saw him.
I don't go to these events.
He just released a book against Trump. He was in his administration. He was H.R. McMaster. We just had H.R. McMaster, nice. And I forget his name, but he's huge in the Obama administration. He was there the night that Osama was killed. He was like one of the main coordinators. He was
in the Situation Room? Yeah. Oh, fuck, I know who you're talking about.
You know him,
God. I'll never remember his name.
But anyways... The point is like, DU brings, I mean, even...
Did you see, hang on, speaking of Bin Laden, did you see, here's a good aside, did you see that the guy that shot Bin Laden... Yeah, dude. The guy that shot and killed Bin Laden tweeted at there's this group of proud young Democrats that are all over social, Harry Sisson and company, Tim Dillon's had them on the pod and they've been on all this stuff. They're huge, right? And so they post in like them in a car, like going out to vote, make sure you get out to vote is their basically the message. And the guy that killed Bin Laden replies on Twitter to them and says, "You're lucky that you're living in such a soft era." I'm like paraphrasing here, because back in the day I'd have you and you'd be my concubines.
Yeah, it was kind of wild.
Like basically like you're lucky you're so soft that you live now, because back in the day you'd be raped for sport because you're so weak.
It was wild.
And that's the guy that killed Osama Bin Laden.
What's his name? We know his name. I have his face in my head.
I can pull it up, but anyway, that's where I'm like, we have to be like, you know, I have to cheer for the funniest outcome because shit like that is in the world. Did you see Trump's response to Peanut the squirrel dying? Did you guys know about Peanut the squirrel?
Robert O'Neill.
Robert O'Neill
was the seal.
Robert O'Neill, thank you.
Yeah. Let's see if I can.
Do you know about Peanut the squirrel? Oh my God, what? Connor.
Wait, hold on.
This is a big voting issue, dude. This is a huge voting issue. The fact that you didn't read about this before casting your vote makes me a little perturbed. So this week, the state of New York went in to...
I found the tweet.
A man's... Okay, you want to... Yeah, finish this off.
So Robert J. O'Neill. Huge guy. He's
the guy that killed Osama Bin Laden. That's all you need to know about him. Think about what that guy looks like.
So
you're right.
It's a car full of probably 18, 19 years. Yeah, they're kind of.
I can say that. I'm allowed to say that about them. That's what they look like.
Yeah.
I'm part of the community.
And this guy goes, "We're Gen Z voters and we're proudly voting for Kamala Harris. Real men support Harris." And Robert J. O'Neill goes, "You're not men, you're boys. If there was no social media, you would be my concubines." Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, I've read this man's book and
well
shit.
Said. The guy that killed Osama.
He's like, oh,
that's just peak, huh? I mean, that's good stuff.
Okay, go back to
Peanut the squirrel. So the state of
see this?
The state of New York, Connor. Strap in for what will sound like a situation on my show, but is reality. The state of New York.
Like it could be on Veep or something.
The state of New York this week. They went into a man's home. A prominent social media following this man had. He had two pets, Peanut the squirrel and Let me find the raccoon's name because say his name. Sorry.
Did I see this dude?
No.
Okay, so
I don't follow
Fred
shit.
the raccoon and Peanut the squirrel. This is from the official press release of Donald J. Trump. New York authorities, under their terrible governor, put more effort into finding and eliminating a squirrel who was innocent by all accounts than they do to control the unchecked illegal immigrants who have flooded into their state.
This is real.
Long story short, this is what happened. New York State went in, took this guy, held him at gunpoint for 5 hours, searched their home, found these 2 animals, and euthanized them.
Yeah.
And
Like
this
sterilized
is
them.
the rest of the statement. If Peanut the squirrel could have only told them he was from Mexico, they would have sent him on his way and given him a hotel room and a $500 gift card to Buddy Squirrel. Instead, he was taken from his family. Very sad. What a complete waste of our resources. When we win, we will get our priorities in order and MAGA.
So Trump supports squirrels.
See this.
No,
quick.
It's real life,
hang
man.
on. This is the shit I'm all about. You guys know the "don't tap the sign" meme from The Simpsons,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If they will raid a house for a squirrel, they're sure as shit gonna come after you. And this is my political stance now, Connor, is that if the government and they guess what? Thanks to the internet, we found out how the fuck did something like this happen? You might ask. How the fuck does New York State go in and euthanize 2 pets of a man? Oh, I thought about it. I'm like, I bet a white woman's the problem. Almost guarantee it. Turns out it fucking was. A white woman in Texas, not even in the same fucking state, in Texas,
Not even the same fucking time zone.
called in multiple complaints to these departments in New York until they would go and actually follow through with this. Hold him at gunpoint, take him out of his home, and euthanize his pets. So I'm screaming, eliminate 300 of the 400 federal agencies. Eliminate the IRS, the Fed,
Those
the
are our
CIA.
jobs. Those are our jobs.
No, eliminate them. Fuck them. Like, find something productive to do with the world other than be an HR person for our government with our federal tax money from hard-earned Americans. It's fucking ridiculous. Stories like this get me heated, dude.
Thomas Hobbes always used to say, and it was Hobbes. Do whatever you want to do. It's within the confines of your own home. As long as you're not violating the rights of others, you're good. So, in my apartment, I fly 4 flags: the American, because I'm an American; the German, because I spent most of my life there; the Austrian; and the Gadsden flag, which has gained a lot of tread politically recently. I like the "don't tread on me" stance. Whatever I want to do in the confines of my own, I guess now an apartment, I should be able to do whatever the fuck I want to do. If I want to sit in the bathtub and jerk off 4 times a day, that is my prerogative. But
But if I can see that flag through my window and I'm your neighbor, that's hate speech. See, you see where we're
actually been cases of
but that shouldn't be. But my feelings towards me looking in on your flag doesn't matter worth a lick.
That's why it's in my bedroom. And
So that's where,
right?
This is I am socialist. You want to do anything as a consenting adult with other consenting adults.
Exactly.
The government has no means getting involved with it by
unless
most things.
you violate other people's rights.
Yes.
I methink they're very basic human rights, like right to all that jazz.
Bingo.
Which is in our fucking constitution.
So
Holy shit.
hey, guess what? You put me in a position, I start getting uncomfortable. I want to use my First Amendment right to assemble away the fuck from here.
Yeah,
that's good.
And if you don't let me use it, guess what? You're in violation of my constitutional rights.
Exactly, with 100% certainty, and that's why it's so strange.
Do I have a right to water and food while I'm in your care? No.
Right to life.
Those aren't my constitutional. Well, right. I mean, life. But then I better use my First Amendment right and get the fuck out. And my second.
Yeah.
But come back and kill this ass. holding me up, killing my squirrel.
Like, these are his pets, dude. Like, I don't know how.
And why does some white lady's phone call lead to pets getting killed by the state?
Dude, it was a SWAT team, man. I've seen pictures. I hope they come out with a video soon. But like, I'm sure they have at this point. It was insane.
Oh, here's another fun one for you. Did you hear the update to the Daniel Penny situation this week, gentlemen? Because I bet you both didn't.
I did not.
Okay. Daniel Penny was arrested for choking a homeless man on the New York subway system, right? Made a huge public thing out of the AG and DA, and just like, it's a huge thing because it was a response. They didn't want this turned into another George Floyd response from communities of color, which justified. Well, it's come out this week that the person was alive when given into police care, which is not what the story was given and not what the charges were made on. That he was killed and then the police got him dead. No. Well, so either through police neglect or the fact that he just sustained and died after the fact, that the whole case, the state of New York's going to end up paying $1.5 bags out to this guy in about 3 to 5 years.
Oh, without a doubt, dude. I mean, I don't know much about that case, but I was following the court hearings about it, and it looks dangerous. Just like and yes, people they have the right to protest without a shadow of a doubt, but it is getting kind of scary. Like you said, New York, god damn.
Well, and then you see tweets that's like, I'm a girl on the subway today and I saw this guy harassing 3 other girls and all the men just stood there and like didn't do anything. It's like, yeah, because if they do something, you throw them in jail for false charges. Like, hey man, conspiracy theories now are truth 6 months from now. Let's just fucking give it time. Let it roast.
Yeah, just wait.
Let it age. I'm just saying, the Daniel Petty thing, it took 6 months for this kind of thing to come to light, but all this shit comes to light. The Russia thing, that 4 years when Trump was in office, they said he's a Russian agent. The origin point of that entire flawed out crux was a funded thing from the Democratic Party. That came out from the Clintons. The Clintons funded the thing, created the story, and it took 4 years of the entire media buying on board for the truth to actually get exposed on their side when it didn't even fucking matter.
Yeah.
So
talk about a waste of resources.
I've lost my integrity in my taxpayer dollars going to things that matter,
just don't pay taxes.
So I'm just paying. So I'm just cheering for the funniest outcome. Don't you think this is the best thing I could do? I could make a better conclusion.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm still voting, but I'm cheering for the funniest outcome.
I mean, go to the root of like political theory in the United States. Yes, this vote matters. Of course it does. But the way that our government is set up, one man or one woman, doesn't matter, cannot change that much. There have been some concessions in the recent past, actually, from the right that is trying to like mitigate that. But in all reality, it's one person in power. We have 3 branches of government. These are like
lots of checks.
Yeah, this is basic civics, people. Like we did this in middle school.
Right.
And so people getting all up in arms, literally and figuratively, about who's going to win the election is honestly horrifying to me. Because when I was living overseas, like elections would happen and nobody would talk about it.
Right.
Like, hey, my best friend from Austria, Tobias. I'm like, hey man, did you vote today? He's like, oh yeah, I voted. My whole family voted.
Yeah, but you don't have money in politics. That's the difference. That's why.
That is true.
So it's like a sport here.
That's why I call it my fucking Super Bowl.
There's a ton of fucking money in it, right?
Exactly.
Like your Super Bowl tonight.
It's ad times, man.
Look at the ads. What are the ads going to be?
Dude, it's insane.
The commercials during the election. Oh my god,
it's insane.
Get the popcorn and Doritos, dude.
That's literally what I'm doing. I'm having a watch party, man.
Yeah,
I gotta go pick up some beers when we go home. Like
literally, even our school is having a watch party.
Like pizza and beer provided.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember I went to the watch party in 2016 at my campus.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
Coe College in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Yeah.
It's
like
small private school
south of where I went in Adam.
Oh, okay.
And
Gotcha.
way better. He's our rival. He's our rival.
I haven't heard of either school.
Anyway, dude, the up in arms nature of that watch party in 2016 was hilarious. Remember, he said because you'd be in jail.
Yeah.
I saw a lady dropped her drink out of her hand.
Clutched her pearls, bro.
Like literally, people were clutching at pearls they didn't have on this campus. Because you'd be in jail. Audible gasps. People up the next day. They sent out an email, and I'm sure they'll do the same thing if Trump wins decisively tonight, which won't happen. They'll send out an email on your campus, something like this tomorrow. If you need, they've probably already preemptively done this. If you need, we'll have counseling services and resources. And I thought about this that next day, as I'm a freshman in college, I'm like, if Hillary won, they would have thrown
a
party with our money. They would have thrown with tuition money. They would have thrown a party. But now we're going towards resources and mental health services and tea if you need it.
Which should already be there, in my opinion. but that's a whole another issue.
Agreed.
If you open up Canvas dashboard,
have you done
this already? No, open it.
Dude, no way. Dude,
it's already there.
I should check Canvas a lot more than I do. Where the fuck is Canvas?
No, they already have like, it's, I mean, given like DU has like finals coming up. And
supporting your wellness during elections and finals. Oh my God. Holy
Told you.
We recognize it. Can I read this?
Please.
We recognize elections and final season, and that's a typo. Good job, DU. Can bring up feelings of stress. We want to remind you of the resources available to support your well-being. The Health and Counseling Center is available to actively enroll DU students, other than those in completely online programs, or those that are also full-time DU staff, blah, 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 blah. We also invite DU community members to join us next Wednesday, November 13th, 10:30 for
blah, blah, blah. Connor.
Dude, it's a fall stress relief event.
Connor, my point of
what the fuck?
I think I have a healthy perspective at the end of the day on this.
Yeah.
I don't think that me going to a place equals an outcome. I think that's a foolish ideal. That my presence or in a place will equal an outcome.
Unless it comes down to sports. Than me being there. I mean, I've never watched the Seattle Mariners lose if I go. We'd be fucking world champs if I went to every game.
Good point. Love it.
No, but I see where you're coming from.
So, conflated anger with systems set aside. Like, I'm here to support us having a free democracy and us having the ability to have conversations with people that we disagree with, have civil discourse.
Like this.
Like, I've had great podcasts recently with people that are more left-leaning throughout the election season, and it's been fun and great.
Yeah.
And I've learned their perspective, and they get to learn more about what's actually happening in the world because they don't get fed the real news, which is hilarious. Like, you didn't know about Peanut the Squirrel, dude? Back in the day, you would have known about Peanut the Squirrel by now.
What are you doing?
Oh, dude, I literally don't have Twitter. I don't have X.
You don't need that shit.
See, my X is my news. I've cultivated, and that X is a great news source now. It really is. You can if you get people on all sides and like
it's good.
mainstream legacy people and non-legacy people alike,
sure.
and you get to the source material quicker on Twitter.
Yeah,
that's what the mainstream media doesn't give you ever is the source material. They tell you what to think about the source material.
Yeah.
I think talking about a big diversion here. And my father used to talk to me about this. The day that politics died in the United States, you say it's the Freedom Act or the Patriot Act. Sorry, my bad. My father says
that was a joke. I should give it more thought, but that's my initial answer.
I see your point, though. Is the 24/7 news cycle. My father tells me, grew up in small town Texas. You get the news twice a day. Once in the newspaper in the morning, and then for like 30 minutes at night. 15 minutes local, 10 minutes country, 5 minutes
feel good,
international or feel good.
Right.
I think that they have to feel so much fucking time now that stories are just coming out of the woodwork.
That's a good point. There's much more commentary.
Yes, commentary is a good word.
People like I had a sports writer on recently, Sam Adams. Great interview. Go check it out if you haven't heard.
Listened to that.
You did?
In preparation for this.
Good. Get to the end of it. He tells a great Cosby story near the end of it. Hilarious.
Oh my God.
Hilarious. Him meeting Cosby is so good. And I mean, he's a comic, so he was one of his heroes. Anyway, he was telling me about the difference between like sports writers and columnists at papers, right? When you become a columnist, you're expected to give what you think about the thing. When you're a sports writer, you don't inject yourself into the story. Like this with politics, right? News used to just be sports writers. I'm telling you the facts. Right. Now with the 24-hour news cycle, everybody has to be a columnist.
It's towards the news.
And what was that law they did? Do you guys remember? It's the one where it was you can provide your own opinion. Unlike news.
Oh, well, news are they're like entertainment products now. They're like reclassified. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. But it was
I didn't know there was a law about that.
This is the definitive moment in American politics is this law.
Look it up.
Shit.
I've been looking up too much shit.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we got to play our own producers today, but no, I do think it's a big problem to think about, us not having a maintained democracy around freedoms. If we can't disseminate information freely, if news networks decide that they, are only going to have commenters on that comment, if it's Fox and they're only going to, spew love for Trump, or if it's MSNBC and they're only going to spew love for Kamala, I don't think that's valuable to the American that's trying.
No, not at all.
I mean, because like but if you're like,
common sense.
If you're leaning, you're going to watch right news sources. And what do they say? Exactly what you want to hear.
So what I find funny
thinking.
So we talk, it's a sport, right? It's a big industry. So politics is all this money behind it. So all this attention's behind it. wouldn't they want more people to want to be engaged with it? And wouldn't that people don't they take such a short-sighted view so much at their capitalism? They don't take a good humanistic perspective, because they'd be better off giving a more balanced view of all the issues, or trying to draw people into the process of understanding what's going on in the world.
The entire process.
Yeah. And that doesn't happen through the 24-hour news cycle with calmness.
No, of course not.
So I think they'd make way more money. They'd have way bigger of a bag, CNN, NBC, Fox, whatever, if they took a long run view of like, no. We want people to not just clapter and agree with what we say every day. And, oh, you have the best broadcast, blah, blah, blah. We want to get that mean email every 5th day. Why'd you put this person on? They're kind of crazy. That's good.
Because people are becoming educated in whatever you want to be educated on. That news can provide.
Or just engaging. Not even if they're not becoming truly educated, they're engaging with the process that makes for better American discourse, that makes for a better American political scheme.
That makes you allowed to talk, able to talk to everybody.
Because you see it on campuses. I mean, people shut the fuck down. They will not talk to the other side on right, left. And that's the weirdest thing ever. So dumb.
I don't know about that, though.
I do know about that.
I think to a certain extent that is true, but a lot of misconception about like academics. Of course, like academics is inherently liberal. And there's a reason for that. Is because they're more on the cutting edge of like changing things and different opinions.
They're progressive.
Like
they have to be.
Think about it though. Like
I don't know if this argument holds up post 80s academia. I don't think it does. In the way academia shifted from the late 80s through now, I don't know if this argument still holds up. I think it used to hold up strong.
I think it still
does.
Well, I think
they
academia
are still constantly pumping out different types of thought.
No. Not since then. It's the same thing with the media. No, look at the distribution of people in academia, in journalism. It's all become a club of agreeants in this party. To a major majority extent.
To a major extent, yes. There's a bunch of yes men and yes women in those small circles. I don't disagree with you there. But where I disagree is they are very...
Okay, maybe if you're
with their thinking, though. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe if you're talking consensus, right? Like you're trying to develop a consensus, which is always like...
Which is part of the scientific method.
Which is never fully done. Now, yeah, it is technically... I would agree that it's technically a diatribe in a sense that it's much more like...
I think you can see that it's eaten itself and it's a diatribe through examples like the Weinstein brothers in Evergreen College.
But I don't know, like
as soon as like they're not worried about pursuing truth, though, they're worried about like maintaining power.
Yeah, but
because it's a business, dude.
Yeah, but so then that's where I don't know if I buy it at all, because in my experience, I'll only speak to mine. I'm around a lot of different people at DU and at Wartburg.
Right.
That of course there was an inherent liberal bias, 100%. However, the differing, at least in the classes I'm in,
we're in all the differing,
same classes. Yeah, we are. Okay, the
tried to other you really hard there.
Perspectives, all like they do get mentioned. The ones that are relevant, at least in U.S. foreign policy, yes, they do.
Yeah, we have two fucking idiots in the class that just want to speak their mind. God, I hate that class.
Great, I'm telling you.
God, but in reality, think about what he assigns for reading.
Step back from the anecdotal though, and look at the data. Look at the macro data of the people.
Okay, here's a great point.
No, but step back and like look at the trends. Like there did used to be a third of every department used to be red. And that is not the case. You can look at across all universities in America. There's less than 5% represented in STEM fields, even of Republicans.
Though,
let alone,
that the party in general, and this is a much larger question. Mm-hmm. I'm not taking an opinion. I'm just saying the party in general, theoretically, if you're talking long term, is dead in the water. So there's perspective that a conservative and these different, like, more traditional norms, right? Or, like, things against gay marriage or things like that, right? Slowly, those are inherently disappearing. And so there's efforts on the other side to then start desperately grasping to try to hold on to that. And on the same time, like inherently, younger people are starting to say, I am not going to judge someone based religiously or things like that.
Unless they're a white man, is like...
No, but they will base who they talk to on who they vote for.
Bingo.
I mean,
totally.
One of my best friends from high school, very, very religious, very conservative, great guy. Congratulations on the engagement, by the way, Sam.
Nice.
He's a great dude. But we have varying views on like what the voters are voting on today.
Right.
Like literally today.
What is bringing people to the polls?
Literally. But we can still have a civil conversation. I have met people I'd like to think myself pretty centrist. Probably not because of where I am in my life, but I've met people that would refuse to talk to me because of whom I voted for in the past or who I plan on voting for in the future, or just like my general party affiliation.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing with that.
But also I will say this is more heavily concentrated as a problem in one side. And you can see it because departments...
No way.
Here's why. Because if 95% of all academia, 95% of all of the media, all of the reporters, all the journalists, if all of that is Democrat, you can't tell me that over the course of 35 years, there's been any effort to swing any pressure back. It's only diminished. You can look at the data. If there had been any pullback of like, we hire someone who's a right wing, whatever, at this prominent school.
But I'm talking about like having a conversation. Like if when I go home to rural Washington State, Reds talk with Reds. And the small blues. I
get you there.
Okay.
I'm saying
you're talking institutionally and what they're driving.
They're not going to. They won't step outside their own bubble. I think in my experience,
they are stepping out of their own bubble.
No, liberals don't step out their own bubble.
No. I'm saying right now, if you're talking higher ed,
dude, if they step, hang on, you'll agree with me on this. If liberals, just a conditional argument, if liberals stepped out of their bubble, this election wouldn't even be close in the polling. It would have already been a landslide.
Which way, though?
For Kamala. Easy dub for Kamala, for the Democrats. If the Democrats could, two conditional arguments here. If the Democrats could step out of their own ass and bubble, this election would already be. So they don't.
Okay.
So
but okay, maybe we're thinking about different things. I'm thinking more.
I'm thinking conversationally.
Okay,
that's what I was thinking about.
I'm thinking more like you're making the argument of like higher base. Or hiring.
But I
within
think what the party does
academia
is representative of those little conversational examples that we see.
But
in my, I mean, I think you can make a data. You can make a.
I don't know. Yes, I agree that liberals in general
stick to liberals more than Reds stick to Reds.
No. They don't understand. This is exactly what I was just talking about with the professor. When you see a video on YouTube where it says Ben Shapiro versus 35 liberals, and then you watch the video and you see these liberals who are should not be on a video like that. They should not be talking policy because they're either too emotional about something, okay? Or number two, they just, and this is no fault of their own, they're just not educated enough. Debate or educated enough to where they can actually make Democrats look decent. So here's the completely. So someone like Ben Shapiro, who's so articulate, Harvard-based attorney, went to Harvard Law. He knows how to talk game. You need to get some PhD from DU Corbell, right? Some people who teach us to go up against them, not some incredibly angered 18-year-old who's super emotionally charged or even just super passionate, right? And so that's what the party's become, right?
That's what I'm saying is that's what the party's become. It's a bubble of its own emotional ideological ass.
For sure.
And if they stepped outside of that, they'd be able to land sweep. And you see them conceding that they could do this. And here's why.
Why?
You already see them conceding they could do it. Here's why. In the last 2 weeks of the election, Kamala's put up policies like, I'm building a border wall for security. I'm going to legalize marijuana nationally.
But that's what every candidate does.
No, they haven't.
Yes.
hang on. Come on. Let's look back. I've told you this since Barack. Barack should have said these legalized weed nationally would have been a landslide. Trump should have said
I disagree.
None of them have done it until now. Kamala's trying to step. She knows
Did
she was
say
down
that
bad
recently about weed.
Dude, yes.
What'd she say?
Their campaign has completely shifted in the last 2 weeks to be like, all right, we're so far up our own ass. If we don't stop for a second and step out and say we should be reasonable for 5 seconds, which now they're doing. Dude, that's what's holding them back.
Yes. I'm not. I agree with you. Then we were talking in circles a bit.
But I do think it's it will only change only comes to those that want to change.
Yeah.
Democrats need to stop.
One day ago, Harris pledges to legalize marijuana and create opportunities for all Americans.
One day before the election.
I want to make this point though.
Sorry, when? One day before the election.
I wasn't understanding what you were saying.
Yeah!
Anyways, this is a really good point, and I want to say it to like people, especially in academics.
They don't watch the show, so
okay. Yeah, but just in general,
I know, I'm fucking around.
Right?
Sorry.
There's a tendency to like, especially if you're young and like in academics right now, and you have the privilege to be in a position we are. Like in that you have been
and worked to get to that position.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. But it's still a privilege because a lot of people never have access to even get that opportunity, regardless of
way
who
to
they
get
are.
the ball and run with it.
Okay. So
thanks for not fumbling it when we handed it off to you.
No. I'm not. I
hate these arguments. It's just so dumb.
Inherently, in definition, it is a privilege.
Yes, I'm
and
just
that doesn't have to be.
With you.
I know he is. I'm just saying.
Great extended metaphors. I'm on a hot streak.
Yeah, he's too smart for me sometimes, guys. Anyways. I will say this, like, there's a very, like, inherent thing within especially young academics who are just now, like, damn, maybe I am the shit, who knows, right? Like, that might come with academics like any other industry. Mm-hmm. There's a tendency to just, like, shit on the other person. And this is probably where you were going, right? Yeah. Like, and I appreciate that comment because it's like, it is so true, especially if you're an academic and you're in that position and you're making comments. Hopefully these people will transform, especially if they become teachers. That's really important. But like,
it's not helpful.
No. Well, it's just like if you can't step out and say, why is someone thinking like this? You're not a true academic, number one.
So wait, I think we're all agreeing.
We are.
We have three different viewpoints.
He needs to get another beer. I'm going to tie this up. To go back to your Ben Shapiro point. Why does Ben Shapiro come out of these 1v35 looking good? I'll tell you, I don't think it has to do with his Harvard law degree or his debating skills or his articulacy. I think he comes out, I think he comes out of these interviews looking good to the people that watch them because he actually goes in to try to make a decent, connected argument on an even playing field.
For sure.
Even if he wants to represent his side or what he believes, he's knows that it's not his job to think that he's right.
Yeah.
It's his job to meet us at an even playing field.
But he does believe that it's right. Though.
But that's fine. He can do it. No, but that's my whole point.
Totally
that's why he looks better.
Yeah.
Liberals think, here's where they fall down.
Yeah.
Same exact thing. They walk in with the I'm right ideals, but Ben Shapiro checks it at the door and says, I'm going to meet you at the even playing field. Yeah. And I'll destroy you right here.
And then
understand. Liberals go, I'm the best. My ideology is the shit.
Moral.
And I'm moral, high-grounded than you, Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to come down to your low-level evil playing field because that's Nazis.
Yeah.
I mean, people in...
and that is an issue.
That
is a problem.
Yes.
That is a genuine
But here's
issue.
the thing that I want to, like... when I was saying, like, people who teach us should be the ones going and talking to these people, because this is where I have huge anger towards, like, more right, like, people on the conservative, much more conservative spectrum who say academia is just pure liberalism, right? Like, maybe in some institutions, I'm not going to deny that, maybe. If you're at a very big institution,
I'm gonna have to show him data after this.
But what I am saying is that from everything I've experienced, it is incredibly intentional people about doing what they purely believe is like their calling and passion. I mean, and I've been lucky enough to have those type of people in my life. But like when I talk to a professor, like and even witness them in grade issue dialogue,
Yes.
right? Because we have a discussion after lecture. They are the most like in like what's the word?
Intentional.
Yes, but like also beyond that, like a student will cut them off when they're about to rip on some shit that like we know nothing about, and they will listen.
Yeah.
I mean, just
And
like,
it's just so powerful.
Yeah.
Like,
Because what that is meeting them at the playing field.
it's being a human being in a conversation. I mean, it's not that hard. I mean, today in foreign policy, we all know who our professor is voting for. He makes jokes about it. He's a very intellectual man. He's a genius.
Things Trump knows best. Get it on Amazon. Your professor's gonna love it. I'm telling you. The professor he's referencing, you'll really
He
like
would
this
find
book.
it hilarious,
You would
actually.
love it. Things Trump knows best by Sean Connolly on Amazon.
So like he's very much voting blue. Everybody knows it. Everybody in the room knows it. But then when we're looking at the readings and we're looking at what we're going to be discussing for the day, and foreign policy is probably not everybody's cup of tea. No. It's very bland. It's very policy driven.
I love it.
I love it too. Oh my gosh. You get a slew of different perspectives. At least I think there's an effort being made to show there are different perspectives. I mean, we had arguments today about, oh my God, what was it? I was playing on my phone all the time.
so
We were
important.
literally going through Buchanan, Patrick Buchanan, who is the
Far right as you can get.
He is the Trump intellectual. He is the one driving that policy.
Yep.
He is the actual academic providing firepower for it. Like, and we literally, the majority, like, this is the thing. The readings are literally like so many different perspectives converging, and we're going to talk about it. And of course there's like a bias, right?
Of course there is.
But the fact that we're doing that in academics,
That's the process.
is exactly what I'm like punching home.
I did not get that in my undergrad. In my undergrad, and this is probably very rare, talk about institutions, going to college in Europe, it was, well, if it was the same school in the United States, it would be called the Red School. But just because of what they talked about, you could tell that most of these professors were fairly right-leaning. And they came from a slew of different European countries. I mean, I had Austrians, I had Italians, I had Germans, and they encompassed the whole EU, which was actually really refreshing to hear coming from a military high school. I was like, holy shit, America's the greatest country in the world. We're never going to die. And then I come to the school in Austria, and I'm learning about these different viewpoints. But then again, they would also have readings on other sides. There was a bias, just like in class today, but on the other side.
Yeah.
And so when I came here, I was kind of expecting more of the same. I don't know why, because I haven't spent any time in the United States ever.
Yeah.
But it is really nice to see the different sides of it, even if there is a bias. Exactly what you're getting at.
But
I got lucky, I think.
The bias itself, I did too.
From a young age.
From
I put this
undergrad.
I put this in the book, but I really think it's a good point. I'm going to take a brief pause so we can get him a beer and use the bathroom here. I need to thank the liberal public school system in Boulder, Colorado for sending me home each afternoon with new ideas of the world around me, eager to argue with my then relatively conservative parents each night. Thank you to my parents for sending me back to school the following day with even newer ideas and hopefully a broadly reasoned understanding of a particular issue or social topic on both sides, but just still as eager to argue.
Yeah.
Like thank God I grew up in a place where I could like learn to think, and like that civil discourse was just what I saw as like how to engage with thoughts and ideas in the world. So
for sure.
Even if you don't agree with them, I mean, it's a
especially if you don't agree with them.
Also, real quick, like there are so many liberal academics who have been stressing this very point of meeting other people on their playing ground, and
just needs to happen.
It's just not happening.
It's just got to happen.
It's not happening.
Like you need to release even like people just don't understand how to
release emails, Hillary.
How to dance and step around difficult conversations.
Who am I kidding? She bleached the servers. Can't release emails. Well, we're going to kick it over to break real quick with our signature station identification. You're listening to 91.1. Oh shit, was that another plane? We'll be right back. And we're back. We're live.
Yo.
It's the after hours show, mini segment. I don't know if we're going to do any hiding today. I think we might
Yeah.
leave the hiding off since we've been heavy on the politics. But
Yeah, dude. Damn.
I'd love to have you back on and learn more about
Dude,
your life sometime,
of course,
man.
I got stories up the wazoo.
I bet.
I mean,
I feel like you and I would have a fun conversation. Apologies for my ranting tonight.
that's what a
Just getting
podcast is,
going.
man.
So we got some early poll results. You want to?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's actually quite interesting. Wait, let me see my own phone.
They're checking their sources.
This is via AP. Yeah, AP.
Associated Press, for those that don't know.
Yeah.
It's like a big conglomerate of liberals. Associated liberals.
AP's pretty rated unbiased.
It's pretty great.
By other liberal ratings.
That's good, man. I like that. All right. We got current count. We got Trump at 95 electoral votes, 6:05 p.m. Mountain Time. And we got Harris at 35. We've got Trump at almost 10 million votes. And Harris at 8.5 million votes.
These are just flying in.
Florida's already been called, which is nuts.
That is kind of wild.
It's not because he is going to win it, but it's still this early.
Yeah, usually Florida's
like
a late
Florida's
one.
always
Well, they
a
already said-
decider.
According to AP, 80-something% of the votes have been counted. Like 80%.
That's
Yeah,
so they
sorry,
can
not
call
80.
they can call Florida, no doubt.
That's insane.
Ohio is now. I just see this. Ohio is now trending blue, which should be a definitive Trump win.
It is trending blue.
Pennsylvania is trending blue. Virginia, of course. North Carolina is trending blue right now.
Georgia's trending red.
Texas is blue right now. Texas is blue.
This is amazing.
Texas is gone blue.
Holy shit.
That's funny. That'd be funny.
That's nuts.
That'd be a funny outcome.
The trend is kind of looking
Georgia's
like that, though.
trending
Like in recent
red.
years. Yeah, Georgia's trending red. But actually, in recent years, mostly
Is
because
Stacey Adams going to say she won the election?
probably. I mean, I'll say I won the election. Vote self 2038.
Vote self. Write in self.
I like my. Actually, I wrote myself in for some position up in Oregon, and then I wrote my grandfather in for some other position.
Yo, I know there's one vote for Connor Jonathan Luke Moore for office of the President of the United States.
Was it you?
I know there is one.
Was it you?
We don't know. We don't know.
Did you vote for yourself?
We don't know.
Well, you could tell us.
No, we don't know.
You could tell us.
I voted for you. You got two.
2.
No,
In the
I'm
bag.
joking. We don't know. There's
Well,
probably not a Connor Jonathan.
Really, all
Luke
you can
Moore
do
on it.
this election season is laugh. And, no matter what happens, finally there's a book for you on the left that you can laugh at. They've had too much fun on the right with these books and memes. It's time for the left to meme. And the left can meme too. Here
Yep.
it is. The left's memes brought to you by the right.
Oh, and look at that. Looks like they're calling quite a few states for Trump.
What else they call?
No, I'm playing.
Nah.
Don't play me like that, man.
I'm
It's my
sorry.
Super Bowl.
It's a Super Bowl, man.
Super Bowl.
28-3, man. 28-3.
Still super early in the night, folks,
Very early.
As early as they could get. Like, we could not be more early.
But if Trump doesn't win Ohio,
No, he's got to win Ohio.
he has to.
Has to win Ohio. Has to win Pennsylvania. Has to win.
Well, he has to win this election. This is why I was saying, like, this is an uphill battle for him inherently, right? He has to crack Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania.
One of those.
And not only crack
The
one,
Rust Belt.
he probably has to win 2.
You think he'll win 2? I don't think he'll win 2.
He has to win 1 with Georgia and Arizona, or he has to crack 2.
Right.
Do you think he'll crack 2?
No.
I think he'll crack.
Michigan, he won't.
No.
Wisconsin, potentially.
Tight. Wisconsin's tight.
Tight. Really tight.
All of them. Come on.
They're
Let's
all-
be honest.
I mean,
There's a reason they're called
Toss-up.
battlegrounds.
Yeah.
They don't just make this shit up.
It's because there's Civil War there, right? That's why
Yeah,
they're
of course.
battleground
Yeah,
states.
yeah.
What a night, dude. It's election night 2024.
I'm so glad we don't have class tomorrow.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, they canceled it?
No.
We don't
just
just
don't
go
have
to
class.
school. We're grad students, man. We don't go to school.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Go to grad school, guys. It's like the coolest thing ever. Like, I can only recommend it.
This is a crazy time, though.
To put that away, I'll just
Crazy
keep
time to
looking.
be alive.
Yeah.
I know.
No,
Crazy.
being in grad school. It's been,
Especially with what we study. I mean, we were talking about this earlier at lunch. I mean, there's never been a better time to be interested in politics. Unfortunately,
yeah.
I mean, there's so many opportunities,
Especially in security studies.
Yeah.
Like, if you're in security and you got the rise of China coming up, you're going to have a job somewhere. Most likely, maybe.
I mean,
we don't know.
I mean, you want us to go full surveillance state against them? We're going to be like better than at surveilling our own
you're
populace?
asking me my opinion on
should we
China?
to defeat China, do we become China?
Well, no.
Well,
That defeats the whole purpose of defeating China.
well, we're moving quicker that direction.
Yeah, we are. I mean, that's a whole nother like topic. We just wrapped up China for
It's a
week
whole
9.
other can of kimchi.
Yeah.
I don't think that's right.
that's not even China, but I like
China.
I like the sense.
I was trying really hard. Mongolian beef. It's a whole other can of Mongolian beef. Let's just wrap up this episode. What was your guys' Chinese food order growing up? It's a good, wholesome question for the end.
I would always just go with the...
You a beef broccoli guy?
I love beef broccoli. I was literally about to say that. Beef broccoli.
Mongolian beef? Money.
Money.
Shmoney.
What a question.
You a crab rangoon guy?
And oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'll get a frame like that. Not loving rangoons.
Yeah, dude.
I'm a big rangoon guy myself. Any good
yeah.
American.
What about you? What's the go-to?
Oh, Mongolian. Anything with some spice. If they put a pepper symbol on the menu, give me that one.
Yeah.
Dude. But like Asian spice is a different kind of spice.
No.
Dude, those motherfuckers.
When I go order Indian, I'm like, hey, look at me. I know you're seeing the skin, the pink, and it's very confusing. Family hot.
Oh,
Like,
fuck
give
no,
me, like, I am, like, just a pal. Family hot.
Nah, dude.
Rarely are they able to, like, really tear me up. So,
Dude, my
but sometimes it's fun when it's like Russian roulette. Like, every 6 times, they're
that's
like,
my favorite game of all time.
we'll really fuck you up this time.
I'll do that every hour on the hour election night, Russian roulette.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Russian roulette election.
Live stream it.
Damn. Crazy.
That'd be wild. Hour 1, just kill myself.
Well, I'm glad the next pod I have after this is like a huge dab head. So we'll be just having a dab episode after this. It'll be a nice transition from the end of the world doom and gloom to just getting ripped together. Crash Compactor and Sean Dabs reemerge. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
Sounds lit, actually.
Dude, but it's been a true pleasure having you, gentlemen.
Likewise, bro.
Thanks, please
thanks
come
for
back.
having us.
Inform me.
This is awesome.
Keep me
Hey,
up to date on the happenings, because I know you guys are going to be around the world pretty soon.
if we're being honest, we don't know anything.
We don't know.
I know.
the end of
I
the
actually
day,
know everything.
The more you learn,
The
the
less
more
you
you
know.
know, the less you know. It's frustrating. I don't know shit.
As the great Descartes once said, I think therefore I am. I got that tattooed. I don't, but I really want it. But so yeah, just keep learning, honestly. That's the only way that you can have these formal or informal conversations like we were having right now. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, there's callbacks that we could do to like the Shapiro talk that we talked about. There's so much that just being educated allows you to do. And it doesn't even have to come from a formal DU Corbell education. Just reading.
Yeah. Engaging with the world around you.
I
Yeah,
like
totally.
that. Engaging instead of education.
Well,
Because
and
it leads to it.
And that's what my biggest fear, I think, is rooted in that, like, you get people pulling back from the human experience and pulling back from engaging with political processes and pulling back from freedom of speech and pulling back from, like, standing up for ideals and peoples of, marginalized communities. Like, don't pull back. Push in.
Yeah.
Push into your humanhood,
Do it.
It's
Learn.
important.
Even if it's different. I mean, I even mentioned this to a professor today. Like, there's some people, not going to say which side, just like they live and they're deciding their vote on a core
One
set
issue.
of things.
One issue. Oh, don't bring it up as we're trying to finish this, because I have a big fucking problem with one issue voters.
But
man.
of course.
Okay,
of
good.
course. Okay? But at the end of the day, the point is that if you are going to be that hell-bent on something, and you just say, this is it because of X, Y, and Z in my life, I respect you. And honestly, that's fine. Like, what more can you do? Even if you present some crazy amount of statistics to prove that is not great,
Right.
they're still going to vote on that principle
Right.
and that value. and it's typically with religion. So.
Yeah, well, both parties could do a better job of trying to step outside their own bubbles
And meet
to
in the
meet those
fucking
people
middle.
at those issues and to show them why
Yeah.
they should look beyond that issue,
For sure.
or why they could represent that issue the right way.
Yeah.
Or just look at the issue from a different lens. I mean, that's all I'm asking for, really.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hey,
Fuck
it's gonna
off
be all
and
right.
be well.